You know how many cool brands have been out there with really cool branding and logos and designs, and they went out of business?
If we don't have a mission or a vision, then who are we actually trying to help? You don't need to worry about competitor. You need to understand who you serve and what you do and how you can help them.
When you build a brand with the actions that you take or the unique
Mm,
things that you do,
mm.
the name doesn't matter, the logo doesn't matter.
That loyalty is like, oh, I've been on this journey with the others. They've been through a lot, and you know what I mean? Then they want to stay with you for longer. You need to do market research. So go and see what the other gym's doing.
The guest on today's show, who's actually more of like a co-host, and I'm learning more and more that these guys are really, really sharp. They're out in Australia. This person's name is Benji Donhardt, and Benji is actually the co-founder of a company called SupaFitGrow, and they're actually out in Australia, and they do such a good job with paid advertising for the fitness space, which is all they work with, that I actually sent all of my clients to them. I actually shut down my ad agency and just sent them all my business, and we worked out a deal. But at the end of the day, like, they're better. They're a lot better. And not only are they getting more leads for the same budget, but they were also able to get higher quality leads, meaning people that are further down the funnel and ready to make a decision. And they just know how to build a brand. And that's really the first step of their entire ad campaign template, is build a really good, strong brand. How do we make people stand out? And then from there, we like to have call to action ads in order to get them to really move into the next step, which is booking an appointment with you. So with that said, today we're going to be spending time on that first level, building a strong brand. What does that mean? How does Benji see it, so that we can get into his head a little bit and be able to bring that to you guys? So with that, thanks so much for tuning in, and let's get to Benji. I want to get into it right away, because one of the things that makes your company so successful, you work with hundreds of gyms now. What makes your agency so much more successful is the problem that you solve. I think a lot of people aren't working on solving the problem. They think the problem is get more leads, but that's the symptom of the problem. If you aren't doing certain things, the symptom will be, and that's why we don't get leads, right? It's
Yeah.
if you don't have a good healthy immune system, that's the problem, and therefore I get sick, right? In your case, you identified a problem. A lot of agencies were doing something that was really just focused on generating leads to an offer. That was it.
Mm.
You guys added a layer in the beginning, but that not only helped with generating leads at a much lower cost, but it also helped the gym in a like in total with everything that it was working on. So let's talk about the problem. What would you say is the biggest problem that a lot of gyms have when it comes to their brand?
I think the biggest problem is gyms not understanding their brand or who they are or what they do, especially with their mission and vision. So many times we speak to gym owners that I ask them, what's your brand's vision? What's your brand's mission? And they simply don't have one. Or there's people that are opening a gym or a studio and they don't understand what that mission is. They don't even have it. They've got all the ideas in their head, but they don't actually have a mission or a vision. So if we don't have a mission or a vision, then who are we actually trying to help?
And so with that brand, there's a lot of different pieces to it. A lot of people think the branding is the logo, the colors,
Yeah.
the font, the imagery, and like that's our brand, right? And
Mm-hmm.
but it goes so much deeper. And when we were talking about it, there's a whole bunch of stuff. There's brand identity, there's your brand story, there's of course the design of it all, but there's building brand loyalty, and then there's adapting and evolving your brand, which I want to dive into each of these because you give me some really good stuff.
Mm.
The problem, it seemed like, and the reason why I think it's important for us to focus on it and why we want to have it, brands, or let me say it a different way, companies that don't have a real strong focus on brand, the
Mm.
problem is that they pay more for leads, they get
Yeah.
fewer of them, and they convert less of them. They have to work extra hard to
Mm.
convert those leads into paying members and to convince them to buy their best stuff and refer friends. That's the difference we've been able to see, common denominator across companies that really work hard on the brand versus companies that
Mm.
just like run offers on paid ads, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So that was a problem. Okay, so now let's dive into it. Defining your gym's identity. When you spoke to me about that a little bit, dive into that a little bit more. What does that mean, defining your gym's identity?
Yeah, definitely. So who are you? So who do you serve? And what is your main point of difference in the marketplace? Right now, And ever since COVID, there is so many franchises that are coming up. There are so many independent gyms that are opening, or franchises that are rebranding to an independent. So when that happens, we need to find out who we are. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
what do we do?
How do you do
So
that?
so how do we do that? So a clear mission statement and a clear vision statement. So who do we want to help? What is it that we're doing? Are we a HIIT training facility? Are we a strength and conditioning gym? Like, how do we really um, sort of identify who we are in that crowded marketplace? Because right now, every single gym owner we speak to, they are really worried about competitors. And I 9 times out of 10 tell them
Yeah.
that you don't need to worry about competitor. You need to understand who you serve and what you do and how you can help them. So if you're a HIIT facility, and this is a really big one, if you're a HIIT facility or a strength and conditioning gym, they're two completely different modalities. So how do we market
Yeah.
that message, what we do for a strength and conditioning gym instead of a HIIT facility?
And is it around a lot more about the gym and the facility, or is it more around the member that you're looking to serve?
I think it's more about it's about the people involved in that gym or that facility, and also what sort of results and um, what results they can get for that person that's coming to the gym.
Yeah, because the way I've always seen it is, if you start with that member, which we've talked about in the past, like, okay, so here's who we are.
Mm,
Like, for example, Alloy model wants to focus on that 40 plus
mm,
demographic, specifically
mm,
like probably more
yeah,
like 45, 50 and older.
mm,
And so they're looking for people that have a little bit more money to invest a little bit more. Their price tags at 3 to 500 mark,
mm,
but they're wanting to be
yeah,
guided, but they don't want a big crowded party. They don't want blasting music
yeah,
and lights everywhere. You have people in their 60s, 70s, and so the model's defined for them. So I've had conversations with Rick, the CEO of Alloy, and
mm,
he's always like, well, that's not really what they want. That's not really who they are. One of the things that we do, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, I don't even know if you know I do it. You probably have your own methods too. We actually interview, and we suggest our gyms do it too. We interview our top 25 members in the first quarter of every
mm,
year. Like the ones that we
mm,
wish we can have 1,000 of, we interview them. And we have 21 questions that we ask. And we say, hey, these are all the questions that we've decided. When we get these answers, that helps us understand how to really build all of our products and our marketing and our advertising, because we don't want to attract more people we don't want, but we definitely want to attract a lot of people we do. Which, by the way, for anybody listening right now or anybody watching, if you guys go to loudrumor.com/21 dash questions, the number 21, you can actually download those questions for free. So when you've seen gyms do it right, whether it was at
mm.
your gym or the hundreds of gyms you work with, what's an example of a gym that you see that does it right, where wow, this branding really lines up with the member that they're looking to serve and the problems that those members are needing to get solved?
There's multiple different examples. So one example is, me and my wife own a gym, F45. So we opened 6 weeks before COVID. All right, we opened with roughly around 885 members. All right, then they were in the age bracket from about 30 to 50 was the age bracket that we were really targeting, that we really knew. Once COVID hit, back to zero members. So we then had to build our brand through COVID, and we were in a state in Australia, Queensland, that was opening, closing, opening, closing. So we had to market the right message for in between 30 to say 50 years old. So we weren't marketing to the 18 to 30-year-olds, right? So we really had to build our brand and really have our brand marketing around that age group. So that means videos, testimonials from that age group as well. So there's no point having testimonials or videos with 18 to 25 or 30-year-olds in it wearing skimpy clothes and next to nothing, because then obviously the 30 to our ideal clients wouldn't be resonating with those marketing messages. So we had to really understand who our market, our demographic was, and once we got that right, um, we were able to manage and grow back to say 280 to 300 members through and out of COVID, which is quite like nearly every other gym and every other studio that we've spoken to. It still is really struggling from COVID, and I really feel that the way we were able to do it was because of our branding, and we have really really strong local branding as well. So being able to build that through through the right messaging.
Getting the right people in the videos and the images is actually very important. And we know it when we see it. Like if anybody has kids, I've got kids. I know Benji. I know you've got one kid. Is that right?
Four boys.
Yeah. Four. Oh, that's right. You got four like I do. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah,
So I've got my kids. When we're out in public and my kids see
yeah.
kids their age, they're like immediately locked in. Like who are they?
Exactly,
And they
exactly.
want to know
Yeah.
more about it. They want to find a way they play, right?
Mm,
And even as an adult, I remember I was actually walking from the place that we had at my daughter's birthday party. I was carrying all the gifts to the car from the birthday party suite. And as I was passing, I passed a coffee shop and I noticed like 20 people playing chess at different tables. And I was really into chess. So I naturally was like locked in. I gravitated and I started asking, hey, what's going on here? And I went in. People like to look for the similarities. They like to look for the mirrors. And so, like you said, if you're looking to get that 35-year-old woman and you got that 20-year-old guy in shape, or you got that 20-year-old girl, that's not going to attract what you're looking to get. So, very cool. Okay, so let's dive into the next thing: crafting your brand story. Um, so, help me understand a little bit more about what you meant by crafting your brand story.
yeah. So who are you? So as a brand, whether you're a large franchise or whether you're a standalone like Private Gym, what is your story? Who are you? So if it's a say if it's a private gym, because if you're a private gym, you're competing against a lot of big franchises. You need to have a strong brand story, and you need to get it on socials. You need to help people understand why you opened that gym. So what is your story? And people buy into a story. So if you're opening a private gym, are you a strength training gym? Are you a hit fit training facility? Are you a Pilates and strength training facility? But why did you open it? So telling your story and crafting your brand story is so important from the very start. Again, we talked to people, multiple people. We're actually opening a Pilates studio in Texas. At the moment, just about to start pre-sale, and one of the questions I asked these girls was, "What is your story? Why are you opening this?" And then the conversation started rolling, and it was really, really good. They told me they both have lived in LA for the last 10 or 15 years. They moved back to Texas. They want to bring a bit of California, LA back to Texas, and this is who they are and this is what they want to do. So yeah, I think that if you don't understand who you are or what you're trying to do or what you're trying to give to the local community, you're going to be pretty screwed from the start.
That's pretty cool. Do you have examples of some gym brands that really did a good job with this?
Well, one of the best I've ever seen is F45. So I was with them from the very, very start. I remember I did my first session in 20, I was still in the military actually, in the Navy. First session was in 2014. And then I started as a casual coach. And then I was so drawn to that brand with just the colors, the red, blue, and white. Um, and then what they did from obviously influencer marketing as well from the very start, they just built a brand that people loved and people really, really grew really strong to it. Then obviously they took it to the States and it just took off as well. So that's one of the best examples I've ever seen. Another one is Anytime Fitness. So Anytime Fitness is extremely strong brand. I remember now. I think just those colors as well. So the color palettes, the purple, you can have access anytime. Like Anytime Fitness, you can actually, and you remember, you can go anywhere you want in the world with that key tag and go and enjoy it. So for me, the reason I've joined that over anything else is I've got access anywhere. I can see it wherever I go. Even if I'm not looking for one, out of my peripherals or the corner of my eyes, I can see, oh, there's an Anytime Fitness. I can go train there. I mean, very easy to look up and an
Yeah.
extremely strong brand. And their story, obviously, with Anytime is pretty cool how that started.
Yeah. It's interesting how there's two different schools of thought here, and
Mm,
there's a really cool quote that says the opposite of a profound idea is a non-profound idea, but
mm,
the opposite of a profound truth is another profound truth. Meaning,
mm,
it's possible for two things to be true,
mm,
but be different, be opposites. So,
mm,
for example, Anytime Fitness, I mean, very well branded, 24-hour fitness, very well branded. We know
mm.
what it is, right? Like
Yep.
24-hour day, you go work out, or
Mm,
anytime you want,
mm.
go work out. Very, very easy. Fantastic. But then you got brands like Starbucks. What the hell does
Yeah,
Starbucks mean? What does that logo even mean? It's terrible.
exactly.
That green has nothing to do with coffee.
Mm,
Terrible. But that's an example of, you know, when you build a brand with the actions that you take or the unique
Mm,
things that you do,
mm,
the name doesn't matter, the logo doesn't matter, but
yeah.
we've got to decide what direction, because you got to have one. Starbucks took off because they started doing Wi-Fi and they wanted it to be your home away from home, right? It's like your second home. You can
Mm,
come here and do work. If you want to get out of the house, didn't want to be at the office, come here. This is your next spot, right? And
exactly.
they really started that whole Wi-Fi in coffee shops,
Mm,
thing.
mm,
Everybody started doing after they did it. It was
yeah.
fast Wi-Fi. All the things they do with the red cup. Everyone knows that red cup during that time. I don't know what Australia's like. Starbucks, they got to be out there.
Yeah,
There's no way
Starbucks is the
Starbucks isn't out
same.
there, right?
Starbucks is the same. And here you
Yeah.
walk, like if you walk past one in the CBD area, you'll see 10, 15 people in there with their laptops open working.
And I share that because there's some people that have a brand that your name's already done. Right. So if
Mm,
your name is, let's say we got a company that's awesome. They're called Hodges Fitness. They're fantastic.
yeah.
We just recorded a podcast with them. They'll be coming on soon. Their episode will be live soon. But
Mm,
with them, Hodges Fitness doesn't mean it's not like Anytime Fitness or 24-hour fitness, right? Or
yeah,
F45, right? It's
exactly.
very, you really don't get it. But
Mm,
man, if you check out their page on Instagram, they're building a great
yeah,
brand and they're helping a
yeah.
ton of people, and people are loving it and they're loyal, they're
Mm,
raving fans. If your gym's not growing or it's not growing as fast as you'd like, there's a reason. And the faster you identify what that reason is, the faster and easier it'll be for you to be able to get to where you want to go. And we've created a tool to help you do just that. It's the Gym Scalability Test. And in this test, in about 5 to 15 minutes, you'll be able to quickly identify what your biggest constraint and opportunity is to be able to take this business where you actually want to go and in the speed in which you want to do it. And the great thing is, at the end of the test, when you get your results, you'll also be given a bunch of tools to help you with your specific constraints. So if it's lead generation, it'll be tools just for that. If it's retention, it'll be tools just for that. All free for you as a thank you for being a listener of the GSD show. So head over to scorecard.loudrumor.com to be able to take your gym scalability test for free and start your path to be able to growing it faster than you've ever seen possible. Thanks so much, and back to the show. For those of you that are listening or watching, hey, look, don't go change your name. Like, you're good. Loud Rumor, what the hell does Loud Rumor mean, right? So you decide what your brand is as well based on the actions that you consistently take. Okay. Um, all right. So now with visual branding and design, this is something as well. I think it's important. I usually don't, I put it at the bottom of the list typically, because at the end of the day, I feel like, if you don't have everything else right, your color, like, how many cool brands have been out there with really cool branding and logos and designs, and they went out of business. So it happens. So with that, what are some of the basics that we should be thinking about with visual branding and design?
I feel that the visual brand design is simplicity. Again, so I'll tell a story about us at SupaFitGrow. We were originally SupaFit Gyms, and we had a little rocket ship sign, and it was visually for us, and it just didn't feel right. It didn't look good. It wasn't us. And then me and Michael, we rebranded to SupaFitGrow, right? So obviously SupaFit Gyms, we were pigeonholed into gyms only. So we were like, we want to serve more than just gyms. We want to do Pilates, yoga. We want to do wellness and spa. So we rebranded SupaFitGrow, and that little G sign that we've got is what we rebranded to. We enhanced our branding, and I feel it's simplistic. It's in our name, SupaFitGrow, so the little G sign's there, and it's really, really simple. I think people try and overcomplicate it when they're looking to brand, and they try and have too much shit going on everywhere. Like your hat, it's just Loud Rumor, nice and simple and
Yeah.
simplistic. That's what I
Yeah.
feel is
Yeah.
and it's almost like I almost think that is a good thing as well. Like Loud Rumor, what does Loud Rumor mean? Like it gets people curious.
Yeah.
Like we always get people super fit grow. What super fit grow? What's that? You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
really think
Yeah.
that taglines are important as well. So like we have LFG, and that stands for Let's Fucking Grow. And you've got Get Shit Done, the
Yeah.
GSD show. So I think those little things really matter as well. And it's simple. It's not
Yeah.
overcomplicated.
Okay. Next, I want to dive into building brand loyalty. And this is around strategies for fostering a community around your gym, your brand, and leveraging customer testimonials and user generated content. So, talk to me a little bit about each of those. So, we'll start with the community around your like fostering a community around your gym brand.
Definitely. So important for like the community aspect of your brand is for me, think it's the number one thing is whether you're going to fail or whether you're going to not. Once you build that brand loyalty, again, through our story of opening there 45, 6 weeks before COVID, we opened, we already had really strong brand loyalty because one of the things we did when we were opening is we brought people on our journey of opening the studio. So before it was even built, it was a construction site. We were doing things like email nurture, to anyone that inquired or anyone that had bought a pre-sale membership, we were showing them the gym come to life. So we were sending them photos, we were putting in email nurture campaigns, we were even invited them in. We'd put a trestle table out the front and we'd invite them in, and then we would show them through the gym as it was getting built. This is where the showers are going to be. This is where your waiting area is going to be. This is the change rooms. This is the workout floor. So they can start to visually see it come together. So that for us was really starting to create that community before we really even opened. And I think a lot of people feel like they've got to get it perfect before people can see it. But I think completely opposite. I think you've got to build, when you're building a gym or opening something, they've got to be a part of that journey the whole way. Because then when you are open, that loyalty is like, oh, I've been on this journey with the owners. They've been through a lot, and you know what I mean? Then they want to stay with you for longer, if that makes sense. And then when you're open,
Yeah,
um,
100%.
the same thing when you're open is like reaching out to our local businesses and building again not just community within the gym but community outside the gym. So we do stuff like local coffee van. So every bi-weekly we've got a coffee van that comes into the car park and everyone gets coffee.
A
Right?
coffee, a
So with
coffee van.
coffee van, yeah, it comes into the car park and then we give out free coffee to all the members that come through and work out. And then obviously we're
I
working
wonder
on
if they have
community
that,
that
and they got to have that in the U.S. too. They
they
got to
have
have that
to
in the U.S.
they
I
have
don't know if
to have
I've
to
seen food trucks and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's building brand loyalty, not just with your members, but with the outside. And then when that coffee van might talk to someone, oh, we've got an F45 on this day, or whatever gym it is. We've even done stuff like going into a local coffee shop and buying everyone's coffee for a whole hour, and then introducing yourself. For us, that's fostering community. It's not just within the gym, it's outside the gym. I think we all get so focused on let's just stay inside the gym and build the community there. The community is all around you, not just inside.
Right.
Mm.
You know what? I just realized I think we do have stuff like that. I don't know if it looked like it wasn't a van; it was more like a cart. But
Yeah.
about 3 or 4 weeks ago, one of our clients actually opened up a gym. You know them, Reformed Pilates. They opened up a new location. It's like their 10th or 11th location. They opened up one right by my house. I went to go just check it out. It was a Saturday, like grand opening, and they had like a coffee cart outside, but it wasn't their company. So I
Mm.
guess we do have it here. So you just got to look them up. Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
So you also put leveraging customer testimonials and user generated content. So why don't we
Mm.
dive into that next?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing that we see at SupaFitGrow is all the gyms we talk to and work with, the testimonials are almost non-existent in, I would say, 80% of gyms. 20% get it really, really, really right. And then everyone else is either too scared to ask or they don't know how to ask. So the testimonials for us and what we've seen through data, through performance and marketing, is once you're using testimonials, whether it's organic or paid, your results literally skyrocket. They literally get better because what do people want? People want to understand if it's worked for them. They want to know if it's worked for them. So again, using those testimonials in an authentic way, not trying to force someone to give you a testimonial, but say someone's just had a great result through a challenge and they've come out and we've had people inside our gym cry where they've had the best results from
Mhm.
all different results. Some people just finish a challenge mentally, they're like, I finished it. Perfect time for a testimonial. It doesn't have to be forced. It's just natural. And how are you feeling
Right.
today? How are you feeling at this? What did this week's 6 week challenge do for you? What have you learned, and what have you learned from being a part of our community, our gym? I mean, so I think being
Yeah.
authentic and asking for testimonials in the right way is key, and that's one of our goals is to help gym owners and help studio owners get better testimonials. Because when you've got 100 testimonials, it's if you get one a week over a year, you've got 52 testimonials right there.
Right, right, and it's easy to get them because you have a numbers game opportunity, right? So, we believe in the same thing. That's why I love working with you guys because we both want to help gyms succeed in this stuff, and this is one of the things we believe in as well. But it's right. Like a lot of people have a hard time knowing what questions should I ask, and you do want to ask a few questions the
Mm,
same way a few different times because
exactly.
we're not interviewing actors, and we're also not
Mm,
interviewing people that are prepared or have done stuff like this. So sometimes you need to ask them two or three different ways for you to get the
yeah,
answer that you want.
yeah.
We actually built a tool for anybody listening or watching. If you go to loudrumor.com/testimonial dash cheat sheet, we actually give you the testimonial scripts we give to our best
Mm,
clients, and you could just have it for free. So loudrumor.com/testimonial dash cheat sheet. And these are all
mm,
the questions you'll want to ask when interviewing members. It
amazing.
tees you up. Just follow it. It's super simple. And also, you talked about community events. Sorry, man, you're giving me a lot of stuff to give away here. We have a bunch of stuff. So if you want to know how to really run good community events, go to loudrumor.com/event
Mm,
dash ideas. Event dash ideas, and you'll be able to get that as well. Adapting and evolving your brand is point you had on here as well,
mm,
is just really talk about how
mm,
to stay relevant in a competitive market, which it is. I mean,
mm.
this industry is expanding. Fortunately, more
Yeah,
people are working out as well, but
exactly.
it's
Yeah.
expanding. So how do you stay relevant in a competitive market? Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, no, good question, Mike. I think, look, too many people are, they again get stuck inside their own gym and look, go to your competitors and work out and train. Like for us at our gym, we've got a relationship with our competitors. So they know who we know who they are. And I think you need to do market research. So go and see what the other gyms do, go and see, and you don't have to copy them, but keeping up with trends, like if they're getting ski ergs or if they're getting more like weightlifting sort of benches or whatever they're doing, have a look what they're doing and see how you can keep up with those trends. In addition to change up the way the gym looks, move things around, repaint, keep things really nice and tidy. Like um, add certain things. So like ask your members what you want. Do your monkey surveys and ask, right, what do you guys want more of? If they want yoga on a Sunday, everyone's asking for it, and you don't put it in there, then you're not evolving.
Hmm.
You're not innovating. I think innovation
Yeah.
is simple as well. If you've got cardio Monday, Tuesday is weights, cardio Wednesday, Thursday weights. If that's the same all the time, people are going to start to get bored. If you could switch the days out, do stuff like that.
It's funny. A few years ago, I got to. There's this guy named Grant Cardone. He's big out here in the U.S. I don't know if he made his way out to Australia or not, but Um, he positions himself as a great salesperson, but I would say he's a much better marketer than a salesperson. He got a really good handle on it. So when I got to go over to his house, we spent a little time together. I asked some questions at the end, and I didn't ask any questions on sales. I felt like no, he's a marketer. I'm going to ask him some marketing questions. I asked that question. I said, how do you stand out in a competitive market? And he said, well, really what you want to do is you want to fill a hole. And so when you look at your competitors that are in your area, that 10-mile radius for your gyms, you look at the competitors and you say, okay, what do they all have that I don't need to have because everyone's got it, right? Like it's nothing special unless it's something that people have as a staple, meaning like if you don't have it, I'm not even signing, right? So that's one thing. But then he said, look for the holes that exist. So let's say in your area, there's really only one person, maybe none, that have classes on Saturdays or classes Saturday afternoons. Maybe nobody has childcare. Maybe nobody does any nutritional coaching or consultations. So what is the hole that you can fill that you can use that in your advertising? Because when you leverage that piece in your advertising, that is the pain point that might exist for the people that are perfect for you, but not for them. So let's say you don't have Saturday classes and your ads is, yes, and we have classes on Saturday too. That alone could draw in those people that are already frustrated with the current company they're with to come over because that's the thing they wish their company had. You see what I'm saying? So, but when you do stuff like that, that's part of refreshing your brand and adding new things. How do you refresh your brand without losing its essence?
Look, I think again, refreshing the brand is trying different things and not be not being mundane, the same thing every day. That comes down to the coaches as well. So, like again, people look at when like coaches leave or bringing new coaches in is a good way to refresh the brand as well. So, bringing coaches in with a different flair, a different way of taking class. You know, and switching the coaches up, and this is one thing we've done that works really well. Is we were going through a stage where we had two really strong morning coaches, and then the night coaches weren't as strong, so we switched it up. And then what we found was the night coaches, the coaches at night, were actually performing better during the mornings. And then the night coaches were liking it. The morning coaches that switched to night were liking it at night because it was a change of environment, a change of people, a change of energy. So that was a really, really cool way we switched up our and refreshed our brand,
Right.
because people were like, "Oh, I haven't seen you here at night. I haven't seen you in a long time." You know what I mean? So seeing different faces and different coaches, that was really, really good, and we got great feedback
Yeah.
from it as well. So now each sort of month that we switch out, so we do 1 month of morning trainers, and then they switch, and then there's a different time schedules that they coach, which is really cool. Mm, mm, mm,
I think I saw industry average was about $30 to $40 cost per lead, and
yeah.
weren't really getting a lot of those leads on the phone. The way that you guys do it to get your lead averages in that $9 to $15
Mm,
mark. I mean, obviously you have some higher, some lower, but like I know people that I've sent over your way that are getting leads at like the $6 to $8 mark, which is great.
yeah.
So you guys are obviously very, very good at what you do. And
Mm,
what's even more important, the cost per lead, because you'll pay whatever the lead costs as long as they're closing.
mm,
But you guys actually produce higher quality leads where the leads are
mm,
actually more
yep,
likely to answer the phone and
exactly.
take action because of the things that you do in your marketing
Mm,
prior to the
mm,
offer being presented online. So I think it's just excellent. If anybody here, I'll tell you right now, I vouch for these guys. I stopped running ads because of these guys. They technically took me out of the game. I stopped running ads, and I said they're better. Like I know what I'm great at. I'm great at the business development side and the
mm,
coaching, and these guys have such a strong passion for the digital marketing side. And
mm.
so we sent over clients their way, and I've got clients that are thanking me still for it. So if anybody wants to learn more about them, just go to SupaFitGrow.io to learn more about them. And Benji, man, I appreciate it. And I appreciate the idea of us having more podcast episodes together.
Looking forward to it, brother. It's gonna be good.
Awesome. For everybody watching and listening, thanks so much for tuning in, and we will see you on the next episode.